What are you doing this winter? I'm going to go climb some mountains. Let's unpack what I'm taking. Alright, so first off, of course, we have the beer. So we've got a Mystic Hazy IPA from Wellington, from Fortune Favours. Fortune Favours. I should call it Flavours, that would have been good. It's good. I do like a hazy IPA, so can't go wrong there. Today we're doing a bit of a different sort of thing. We're not really reviewing a particular product. Jill's asked me to do basically like a what's in your pack. So this is the kind of kit I would carry on your average like big mountain mission. So if you're going up, you know, up Cook or any of those bigger peaks or something like that, this is the kind of gear I'll be taking. So I'll just kind of run through, I guess, piece by piece, area by area, and go over it a little bit and see how we go. So starting off with the pack that it's all going in. So we've got the Mutant here, the Osprey Mutant. That's a 52 litre pack. It's quite a nice pack because it's quite versatile. It's I find it reasonably comfortable. It fits me quite well. So that's the main thing really. And then it's quite squat, so you're not banging your head on the back of it when you're looking up and you're climbing. The other thing that's really nice about it is that the brain here can be removed and then you can slide the frame out. So when you get to the hut or whatever and you're going on a mission, it can become quite low profile and nice to climb with. So yeah, everything goes in there. On the outside of the pack, I normally have a soft flask. So that means you can kind of sip on water through the day. You can also chuck a bit of snow in there to melt as you're going. That's quite handy. It's really nice to have water and food as you move on the move, so you don't have to stop as frequently. And then the arm pocket. So these little shoulder strap pockets are really handy. You can keep your phone in there, you can keep like your sunscreen, your muesli bars, that sort of stuff. Talking about food, nutrition, that sort of thing. I haven't actually packed up any food here because it depends, I guess, on how long you're going, what you like to eat, that sort of thing. But in terms of water carrying, I've got that 500ml flask there. I also normally take a 500ml Nalgene bottle. These are really handy because I can use them as basically my mug. So I'll put like my coffee in there, put soup in there, all that sort of stuff. It does all kind of end up tasting a bit like each other by the end of the trip, but that's kind of all part of the job. I normally take a little flask like this. So this is 2 litres and they don't really weigh much. So you can kind of keep it in your bag, and then if you need to carry more water, you can. So say you get to the end of your water sources and that sort of stuff, you can fill up and you're good to go. Cooker, normally take a jet boil. Everyone knows a jet boil, they're great. Heats water fast, melts snow. Something like this that's quite wide is quite nice for snow because you can get lots of snow in there. Sweet, moving on to clothing. So, obviously got quite a bit of clothing going on here. Generally for the approach, obviously it depends on the approach, but I'll be wearing like a soft shell pant. So these are the Montane Nordies pants. I also might wear something like this, like a Tenacity pant from Montane. Just any kind of soft shell pant that fits you and feels good. That's where I tend to go. In the summer, maybe I'll be wearing more of like a hiking style pant as opposed to like a soft shell, but the soft shell's a little bit warmer. And then if I'm approaching on a glacier or something like that, I normally have a sun hoodie. So this is a Black Diamond sun hoodie. It's nice and, because it gets quite hot on the glacier actually, so it's nice to keep the sun off. And a buff and a hat, very faster hat. So that's kind of how I layer up when on the approach often is the case. And then I'll often carry some base layers with me. So these are the Black Diamond Coefficient, top and bottom. And then in terms of layering on that, I'll normally take a synthetic mid layer. So this is the Montane Fireball Light. You could also go a little bit warmer, something like the Icarus Light if you wanted to. This one I quite like, works for me. Down jacket, always take a down jacket. This is a Montane Alpine 850 light. And then whatever shell you have, you know, something reasonably lightweight is quite good, but you don't want to go like super light. You don't want to go into like a running jacket or something like that because you'll probably just shred it. So yeah, that just about covers the clothing. In terms of footwear for the approach, 90% of the time I'll be wearing like an approach shoe or something like that, because I don't want to be walking in my alpine boots because they're heavy and stiff and you'll get them wet and that sort of thing. So smart wool socks, walking in my approach shoes, and then I'll be carrying my boots. These are the Las Wativa Nepals. Be carrying these in on my pack. And in those, I quite like the Bridgedale waterproof sock. They're super warm, really, really nice. Also, my Nepals have seen a bit of abuse, so they're not 100% waterproof anymore, so these help my feet dry. And then I quite like the Injinji toe sock liner. And it's, for me, it was kind of just playing with sock systems to get it to fit nicely and be nice and comfy as well, and nice and warm. It's a good balance. It depends how much space you have in your boots, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think that's all the clothing. A lot of stuff here. Sleep stuff. So, I have Cedar Summit Spark 3, which is an old version now. So the new one will be, I think it's just called a Spark, but that's got a comfort rating of -2. I find that's normally enough because, you know, if you're bivvying out or in a hut or something like that, you'll be wearing your other layers and that sort of thing. So normally -2 comfort is enough for me. Bivvy bag. This one has a little hoop, keeps it off your face. It's quite nice. May or may not be taking this depending on the trip. Sometimes might take a tent, sometimes might just be staying in huts. Nemo sleeping pad. These ones are super, super warm, really light, really comfy. First aid kit. I normally always take a first aid kit. I won't go into the kind of first aid that I'm carrying because I'm not an expert in that field. I normally take an emergency shelter, head torch, some bandages, any medications, that sort of thing. Poop kit, just in case. Toilet paper, bags, that sort of stuff. Dry bag. Ice screws. Well, yeah, ice screws. Yeah. Technical stuff. Right. All the gear. So that kind of covers the base stuff. So then we go into the technical gear. Yeah. So depends on the trip, obviously. If you're going climbing a lot of ice, you might take, 12 or 15 ice screws. But for me, anyway, a lot of the time it's a bit of a mix, and you might take like 4 or 5 ice screws, something like that. I'll pretty much always take one longer ice screw for making V-threads and a V-thread tool. So this is a Petzl ice screw. They're super, super lightweight. And then you've got cord for all those V-threads. So I normally take about 5 meters or so, but sometimes you might want to take more. Rope. So here I've got a triple rated 8.7 mil rope. So that's quite a lightweight rope that can be used in one line, but you could also pair it with another rope as well if you wanted to take 2 ropes. Compass, always handy. This one is the Silver Expedition, so it has a slope meter, so you can measure all your avalanche slopes. It's quite handy. Talking about avalanche stuff, avalanche gear, the Black Diamond, I forget the name of what these are called, but these are really, really nice. It's got a beefy handle, super, super grunty. So if I'm going into a decent amount of avalanche terrain, it's nice to have a proper shovel. I have a probe here and a Black Diamond transceiver. I'll normally be taking that sort of stuff on most missions. And then harness. This one's quite a lightweight harness. If I was carrying more technical protection and gear and stuff like that, I might take a beefier harness that can rack up a bit more gear. And then got some quick draws, slings, nuts, cams, that sort of thing. And then all your kind of personal safety stuff, so like locking carabiners, belay device, crevasse rescue gear, Cossacks, that sort of stuff. And a helmet, of course. Always take a helmet. Glasses. I got the Jolbo Shield glasses. So these are quite nice because they have a reactive lens to them, so they go from category 2 to category 4, which means you can wear them in like the cloudy conditions or the full sun, glacier, and they have some side protection as well, which is quite nice. So when I'm all wrapped up for glacier travel, I'll have like the hood on and the glasses and the buff, and try to use as little sunscreen as possible because everything just wears out. Sweet, I think that basically covers it. Oh, ice axes, I haven't covered those. So these are Petzl-nomics. These are super nice for climbing with, for climbing ice, climbing mixed terrain. I put a bit of tennis tape on there so that the metal's not so cold and doesn't get all icy, and it's nice and grippy. And then often I'll be taking a hiking pole as well. So this is the G3 Pivot Trek. They're quite a robust pole, but folds up nice and small. So often for the approach, if I'm on crampons and ice axe, I'll have one ice axe and then the pole on the downhill side. And then when I'm going into the climbing, where I'm going 2 ice axes, it's nice to have something that can just pack away, so I don't have a big antenna sticking out of my pack. So that's quite a good system. And then with the ice axes, I have some Petzl Lynx crampons. So obviously, you know, a relatively technical pair of crampons, but you know, if you're moving through less technical terrain, maybe you'd have something a little bit lighter weight, less technical than that. Sweet. Well, that basically covers what I tend to take in my pack. Feel free to come to the store and ask me any questions if you want to know anything more about any of this stuff, and we'll see you for the next one.